Hello, hello, hello.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Everybody's here. Let's stop this music. Hello, Bruno. Hello, Elia. How are you guys?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Very good, very good. Elia, you are in mute. You are in mute.
It's the way we greet each other these days is like, good afternoon, you're on mute, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's impossible.
Very good. So, how are you, Bruno? How is Brazil? How is São Paulo?
Doing good, man. Brazil is okay. São Paulo has a bit of a bad weather today, but I'm in a different state, Minas Gerais. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, family anniversary, like birthday rather. My mother is turning 71, so we came over here and I just quickly escaped lunch, said my greetings to everyone because I got to work and deliver. You see how committed I am? Yeah,
very good.
That's
Very
committed.
good.
right?
Just to share with you, I didn't have lunch yet too. Just
Yeah,
got one cheese stripe. This I'm
right.
addicted with this cheese stripe. I got two, and that's it.
Oh, I'm sure you're always the guys that's eating less and sleeping less during the event, man. I have no question about that.
And how about you, Elia? Where are you,
uh,
by the way, and how are you?
yeah, I'm great. I got back. I was in Mexico for 10 days for a wedding, and
Nice.
it was beautiful. Got to travel all over Mexico. Then got in really late last night, and but it was a great experience having Mexican food in Mexico. Always
Right.
experiencing the culture. I much prefer. Didn't spend any time in the tourist areas of Cancun, but spent time in like Oaxaca and all the different like deep cultural places. And loved it. It was awesome. Awesome.
Cool. That's commitment as well. You see, bright and early, you're back to work, just like that.
Absolutely. We got work to do.
Yeah, right.
We got people to help.
Very good,
Absolutely.
very good. I appreciate you both for this commitment and for the opportunity to make this um, message came to Brazilians again.
Yeah.
Always is a very big challenge for any side, but we are very good.
Absolutely. I'm just happy to be a
No
part of it. I
people.
remember Elias's lecture from the last time, and that goes for anybody from any field, like across the board. I'm taking notes on my side as well because that stuff, everyone could use that.
Yeah. And I feel like I've been put into a unique position to help. Fitness industry does so much, especially right now with COVID and the pandemic, and people panicking over hospitals and getting sick, and panicking over wanting the vaccine, not wanting the vaccine. It's all over the place. When I've always believed that the full universal answer is take care of your body, eat right, train hard, like but the problem with it is I don't think people get that message enough,
Yeah.
or they don't understand that message. So having the opportunity to help young trainers and coaches and personal trainers and industry people say, hey, we have a job, right? We have a personal job to help people, and right now people need our help more than ever. So it's exciting, and I'm grateful, Carlos, always for the opportunity to work together, man.
Very good, very good. Bruno, is everything
Yes, it's all good. I got
set?
the
All
invite
set?
for the interpretation. I was just waiting to give Elias a reminder. So there's going to be an option on the bottom side of your screen there, Elias, interpretation. All you got to do is select English. That whatever says in Portuguese, I'll be translating to you into English, and I'll be translating you into Portuguese for them as well in the background. So don't mind me. I do all the work. You just do your thing. I'll keep up. All right.
Okay, so I hit interpretation and I change it to English.
That's right. And you stay there, and it'll be all good. The communication is going to be dynamic like that.
Cool. Okay.
All right. So shall we do a test,
Sure.
Felix?
Yep. Elias, se você está me ouvindo na voz do Bruno, dá um joinha porque temos que saber se o inglês está melhor agora do que antes.
Felix, perfect.
Ah,
Yeah, sounds great. Can you guys hear me okay?
sim, posso ouvir
Perfect. Yeah, translation came through great. Awesome.
Muito bom. Elias, só uma pergunta.
Yes, sir.
Não sei se eu poderia falar isso agora ou não, mas falando sobre o novo website. Você vai falar alguma coisa sobre isso hoje aqui? Porque eu vi bem interessante. Sell It Like Scarr.
Oh, the Sell It Like Scarr website. Yes. Yeah, so the Sell It Like Scarr website is, I'll actually share with the group why the website is designed the way it is and what it's designed for. And it's so, like, if you actually take a look at Sell It Like Scarr, it's simply designed to capture information, contact information. And we tend to blow things up. We want a website with 30 pages, 40 pages, and media and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. And all that stuff is great if somebody wants to dig in. But the reality is, you can give a little bit of value up front and give have a good, like, for example, if people opt in on my website, then they get a form essentially on how to do the perfect first impression, how to make a first impression that's so good that people will remember who you are and want to talk to you again. And so just having something that's still of value, all you have to do and give me in exchange for that is your email address. That's it. And then the whole point of simply capturing an email address was proved last week when Instagram and Facebook went down. Because if everything goes out, the only thing you have absolute control over is your email list. And so from a marketing point of view, and one of the things I want to share with a lot of the group here, and with that website in mind, is stop aiming for perfection and just get stuff done, get things done. 1 is better than 0. And so for that website, that's going to be the home of starting and working with me for those professionals that will work with me on a one-to-one basis, where I can dig deep into their business. And then eventually it'll be a place for products like the one we're creating today, and courses. I have a sales course that's going to be coming out. That's going to be a multi-module sales course that people can sign up, and they'll be able to join a group and work with me and work with other entrepreneurs. And I particularly like to work with new trainers, new coaches, new entrepreneurs, and really get some fresh minds and some fresh ideas out there into fitness and business for the people that are deep in it now. So that's the website in a nutshell, and where it's going. And again, for this group, I'm going to break it down a piece at a time, so they can do the same.
Muito bom. E é grande momento para poder fazer esse lançamento para o Brasil, né?
It's perfect timing to do the launch in Brazil and to launch that, to launch the product. It is something eventually, I want to talk with you as we start to launch this product in Brazil, of maybe having a bonus for the first however many that sign up and purchase the product, where they can get either some time with me, or they can, have some kind of contact with me where I can guide them for the first couple of weeks through this course for anybody that wants to purchase it. So we have a lot of exciting things to put together as a team. I'm really excited for that.
Muito bom, muito bom. Excelente. Quase no momento certo de começarmos, 2 mais minutos. Temos alguns integrantes aqui que estão fazendo o registro no último minuto, então de vez em quando eu vou estar liberando.
And then for today, the lecture is about a little over an hour, and then I wanted to use the rest of that time for Q&A and set up for the coming week, because we're starting with, this week is going to be the system, the following week is going to be the skill set, and then the third week is going to be advanced skills and check-in and accountability. And I want to be able to give each one of the attendees, help each one of them narrow down what is a goal between this week and next week personally for your business, and something that we can work on, and I can check in with everybody next week. And it looks like with the number of attendees, I should be able to check in with everybody individually over the next, over the last hour from 3 to 4.
Muito bom, muito bom. Isso aí é um bom momento para realmente tirar as dúvidas, né? Essa parte do perguntas e respostas com certeza vai somar bastante.
Great.
Maravilha. 1 minuto mais.
And then I will essentially share my screen, right, with the presentation and all that.
Quer fazer teste agora?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. 1 second here. Share screen. And then, does that work?
Tá funcionando perfeito. Show. Maravilha. E você está na costa leste, Elia, ou na costa oeste?
Yes, I'm on the East Coast. I'm in North Carolina, the American South, and it is a very, very lovely, very friendly, very warm place.
Bom, nós estamos mais próximos agora. Nós estamos aqui algumas 2 ou 3 horas de distância. 3 horas de distância.
Not bad at all.
Muito bom, muito bom. Excelente. Bom, 2 horas e 1 minuto da costa leste dos Estados Unidos, 3 horas e 1 minuto do Brasil. Eu ia falar da costa oeste dos Estados Unidos, do Brasil. Pessoal, sejam muito bem-vindos, sejam muito bem-vindas. Vamos aqui finalmente iniciar a nossa sequência de 3 encontros, que é o nosso pacote de super bônus com o grande Elias Scarr. Vou fazer uma breve apresentação sobre ele. Antes de mais nada, eu gostaria de agradecer a presença de todos aqui, de todos que estão participando desse super bônus de treinamento intensivo de marketing e vendas. Agradecer a presença do nosso querido Bruno, mais uma vez, nos auxiliando com a sua tradução. E agradecer, é claro, ao nosso querido Elias Scarr, que vai aqui contribuir com essa dádiva que ele tem de realmente encantar as pessoas com estratégias simples e fáceis de aplicar sobre vendas. O Elias Scarr é o diretor... Elias, se eu falar alguma coisa errada da sua bio, por favor, me corrija, ok? Eu fiz uma pesquisa aqui, mas sabe que a internet nem sempre nos deixa muito correto, né? Elias Scarr é o diretor da Result Fitness e técnico de vendas e comunicação da Result Fitness University, que é um grupo de consultoria para academias em todo o mundo. Para quem não lembra, a Result Fitness é uma empresa dos outros 2 palestrantes que estiveram conosco, que foi a Rachel Cosgrove e o Alvin Cosgrove. Eles estiveram no Perform Better Brasil Connect desse ano. Elias tem mais de 25 anos de experiência, me corrija se eu estiver errado, Elias, em vendas na indústria de serviços e apresentou para muitas organizações importantes da indústria do fitness americana e mundial, como a IRSA, o NSCA e a Perform Better, e agora ele está contribuindo também com a Perform Better Brasil. Elias, é uma grande honra ter você por aqui. Muito obrigado e o palco do Perform Better Brasil Connect é seu.
Felix, thank you for the invite, and Bruno, thank you for translating. The Perform Better Brazil group is such an incredible group because nothing exists like it in South America. These guys are the only game, which is exciting because if there's any industry that needs support and they need coaches, they need guidance, it's the fitness industry. And so I want to thank these guys for really, and the Perform Better Brazil group for really just taking charge and taking the lead in fitness and sales and training education for the fitness industry in Brazil and South America in general. And I want to thank you guys for showing up and attending to attend a seminar that's not in your native language, even though we're having it translated, but the idea that you're just seeking education, that you're looking for, that you want to get better, that you want to improve, that you want to hit the next level, that's rare in business. And I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. So somebody with the drive like you guys who showed up today, that's definitely something to pat yourself on the back with and say, hey, good job. I'm taking time out of my Saturday to level up, to get to the next level. And I want to give you valuable information today that is worth your time, worth the time to take a Saturday to put in extra work. And so I have a couple little corrections about the bio. One is I still work with Results University, but they are a client of mine now. And I work for them and I teach sales and communication. But I no longer work for Results Fitness, the gym. I am now have my own business, sellitlikescar.com, where I work with entrepreneurs on a one-to-one basis to help guide them through the steps to make their business successful. And of course, I'll have a special opportunity for you guys, for anybody that's interested or has questions that wants to work or talk with me. We've got lots of opportunities for that. We're going to do tons of questions over the next 3 weeks. But here's what's important about me leaving Results Fitness and moving on to my own business. One of the biggest reasons I did that is because Alan, who I used to work for, and who's my mentor, Alan and Rachel Cosgrove, told me that you are now at the top and you have to go out on your own. You will not grow unless you go out on your own and you start your own business, and we're going to help and support you every step of the way. So my background is working with people who constantly push you forward, even if it means them losing me as an employee. They see my success as so important that they will push me forward. They continue to push me forward. And that's something I've learned from them. And that's something I'm going to pass on to you, is that I care about your success so much. I'm going to do everything I can to push you forward, to push the industry forward, because if there's ever been a time in the world that people need our help as trainers, as coaches, physical trainers, physical therapists, athletic coaches, it's now. The world needs our help now more than ever. And so we have to come together as a team under the banner Perform Better Brazil and move the industry forward. So I'm excited for that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to save questions to the very, very end. So if a question pops up, or you're not sure about something I said, or you have a question, write it down, because I want to make sure that I answer that question. We have ample time. We've got about an hour for questions. We've got ample time for that. So write it down. And then at the end, we'll go back and we'll review. And with the number of attendees we have now, I would encourage you to ask questions, because most likely whatever question you have, someone else probably also has that same question. So if I'm answering it for you, I'm probably answering it for quite a few other people. So be brave, ask questions at the end, dig in. Even if there isn't something that you see in today's presentation and you still have a question, ask away. This is your time over the next 3 weeks. I work for you. All right. This is something I want you to keep in mind about a coach. The coach works for the client. In this case, I'm the coach, you're the client. I work for you. So let's take the best advantage of this time as possible. So today's presentation, how to enroll more members and keep them the easy way. And one of the reasons I get so excited about this topic is that it doesn't have to be hard. Sales doesn't have to be hard. Now, for a lot of people, it is. Sales is challenging. Marketing is challenging. All of it is difficult for a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be difficult. It just has to be specific. So what we're going to focus on today is the systemized way of doing this. Now, here's how you want to look at the system. The system has been tested for the last 10 years at Results Fitness, tested and refined and tested and refined. In doing so, we discover that if you follow the system with no skill whatsoever, you just follow the system, you have about an 80% success rate of driving in new clients, driving in new income, enrolling more people, upgrades, referrals, all of it. And that's just through following the system. So the cool part is we're going to cover the system this week, and then next week we're going to add the skills to the system. Now, let's dig into some stuff. One of the most common things that speakers do is they tell you a little bit about themselves, right? You hear a little bit about them. And I could tell you about me, but it's boring, right? You don't want to know about me. I don't care about me. Here's why I'm not going to tell you about all the things I've accomplished and all the, this and that and all the stuff that all the speakers do, because it's not about me. Because it's not about me, it's also not about you. So here's what I mean by that. Here's this word. I'm going to read it out so it's translated. The word is sonder. And it is the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own, populated with their own ambitions, friends, routines, worries, and inherited craziness. That means everything that's going on in your life, all the insanity, stressors, good things, bad things, family things, friend things, personal business, whatever the case may be, that level of craziness is going on in the person that you are sitting across from, trying to convince that you should be their coach, trying to get them to enroll in your gym, trying to get them to purchase something from you. Life is complex and crazy. And if we make it about us, that person will never feel like we understand. And so I'm going to give you rule number one, right? Rule number one is it must always be about them. Always. Now, here's the cool part. There are no other rules. This is it. If you can follow rule number one and make it always about the client, you're already going to succeed and you'll already have greater success. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to sell something or when they're trying to communicate the value of what they do is they spend a lot of time saying, we do this. So we do nutrition training, we do coaching, we do individual coaching, we do, custom programming. We do, we've got really nice gear. We've got new equipment. We've got a really clean gym. We've got great locker rooms and all these things all the toys, right? All the equipment. I've got TRX and barbells and I've got all this stuff. Well, the reality is if you're competing over stuff, whoever has better stuff than you will win. And when you make it about you or your gym, when you make it about that space, it's you that you're not competing with every other gym in every other place. And if you want to stop competing with other gyms and stop competing with other places, stop making it about you and make it about them. And do it in a systemized way. So rule number one, and the only rule, always make it about them. So now that we know that it's about them, how do we turn things into a system? And why is it so important to be a system? So I'm going to tell you the secret of systemizing sales. It's Batman. So here's what I mean by the secret is Batman. Batman is a system, right? He is the system because right here in front, we have 6 different actors all playing Batman. That means, well, how do you know it's Batman, right? You've got the bat symbol, you've got the ears, you have the costume, you have the Batmobile, you have batarangs, you have all the equipment and all the characters that come with Batman. But it's the systemized way of doing it so you can recognize it no matter who the actor is. This is the most important part is it doesn't matter who the actor is. It only matters that Batman is a system that we can replicate again and again and again. Now, here's why this is important. If you can't repeat what you've done before, you can't get better at it, right? It's like if you were trying to get better at a squat, right? You're trying to improve your weight on a squat. And so you do squat, and then you try a sumo squat, and then you try toes out, then you try toes in, then you try single leg squat, then you try goblet squat, then you try bar squat. And you never spend any time with just the single squat pattern, right? The single pattern. The system is a pattern, and it doesn't matter who's doing it or who's applying it. The system I'm going to give you today is designed to be done by anybody you have, whether it's you, whether it's your staff. If you ever want to grow, right? If you want to grow your training business, your personal business, you need something called scale. That means you could only put in a certain number of hours a week. At some point, if you want to grow, open your gym, open your own business, you need to be able to scale. And to be able to scale, you need more people. And if you have systems in place, a systematic way of this is how I do it every single time, 2 things happen. 1, you get better at it because you put in reps. And 2, anyone in your company or business can do that system as you start to grow, as you start to take trainers under your wing, right? So let's talk about the first step. Actually, I've got a step before the first step. So step 0.1, what I tell everybody is get over it. Sales is not a bad word. If you have a difficult time thinking about sales or selling or talking about money or value, you have to get over it because the reality is your income and your influence will be in direct proportion to how well you can sell. So if you want to make money as a trainer and make money as a coach, you got to learn how to sell. If you can make money. People will tell you don't get into the business to make money, get into to help people. Yes, you want to help people. Can you be rich doing this? Absolutely you can. Can you make money doing this? Absolutely you can. And you can be in it for the money and profit and drive things forward. But if you want influence as well, if you actually want to help the people around you, if you want to help the community, if you want to provide something for people, you still have to learn to sell. You have to learn how to convince people that what you do has value to them specifically. And we're going to break that down systematically as we keep going forward. So number 1, whatever your feelings are about money, whatever your feelings are about selling, about asking for money, about your personal value, this is something we have to get over and move past. I'm going to give you some tools for that. But just keep in mind that what you do as a personal trainer, as a coach, has the ultimate value. And what I quantify or qualify as the ultimate value is, are you changing lives? There are truly few things in this world that actually change people's lives. Fitness is one of those things. Changes lives, saves relationships. I've seen people, start to train at the gym and their careers get better. Their relationships get better with friends, families, spouses. They feel better about themselves. They're more confident about themselves. They're more confident at work. They have more sex at home, right? And that's kind of a taboo thing to talk about at least for Americans. Americans have a lot of hangups. But the reality is, if you can take somebody who's miserable and alone and all of a sudden they're confident, they feel good about themselves and they have a better sex life and better relationships, this is life-changing things that you guys do. And it's unique. Not a lot of other industries in the world do this. I can't think of another one that does it the way that you as personal trainers and coaches do it. So you have value in what you do. And all we have to do now is learn how to explain that value, communicate that value, and be comfortable asking for payment for that value. So here's how we set that up. Number one starts with an inquiry. This is somebody reaching out, whether it's by phone, whether it's by text, whether it's by email, whether it's in person. We treat every inquiry the same, and we want to do it in steps. So number one is create a system and scripts and use them. Stick to a system. Now, here's the reality. You already have a system. Whatever you do now and however you're putting it together or however you're communicating to people, that is your system. Is it being tracked? Do we know the numbers? Do we know the data? Are we sure if the system is working? I don't know. You may have an excellent and outstanding working system. It may only pull one or two things from this talk. Great. You may not have a system in place at all, and you're just kind of winging it, but you tend to wing it the same way every single time. That's also a system. It's just not an effective system or a system that we can improve. So you got to create a system or use this one and scripts. That means when somebody calls over the phone and they inquire, you answer the phone the same way every single time. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about why scripting is important. Number one, we want to take control and gather contact information. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is when somebody calls, the first thing they say is, how much is it? Right? And we want to tell them, oh, it's $195 a month, or whatever the case may be for you. And when we answer that question, they're in control. So answering the phone or answering a text or answering email is not about giving out information. You have to resist the urge to give out information. It is about gathering information. We want to know contact information. We want to know what's important to them. We want to know why it's important to them. The more we understand about that person, the greater chance we have of selling that person. We're talking about high value clients, and we need to establish some value, right? If you have a favorite car, one of the cars I'd love to drive is called an Aston Martin Vanquish, British sports car, right? It's a $150,000 car. If I look at that car and I see just the price tag, you might think, well, there's no way I'll afford that car. But if you get in the car and you drive that car and you have an opportunity to establish some value with that car, then you start to think not, I'll never be able to afford it, but how can I afford it? How do I make this happen? If you want people to think about how can I force this to happen? How can I make it happen? You must take control and gather contact information. You have to be in control of the conversation. So here's a couple of things. If you have an inquiry script, and remember, it's the same whether they're in person or over the phone. I'm going to give you a list of things we want to do. Number one, during the inquiry, the first thing we want to ask is, who are we talking to? So if you answer the phone, I would say, Changing Lives at Results Fitness. This is Elias. Who am I speaking with? I immediately ask for a name. And what that does is that starts to set people up to answer your questions. Because remember, when they call, this is about gathering information. The next question is, what are you looking for? How can I help you? When I ask what are they looking for, that starts to tell me what they want to buy, right? I'm looking for a personal trainer. Okay, they want to buy personal training. The next question I ask is, oh, and why is that important to you? So what's your name? What are you looking for? Why is that important to you? Start to get into an emotional anchor, right? And ask questions as to why. Oh, well, I want to lose some weight and feel better in my clothes. Great. Now I have something to use. Now I have some information to use. The next part of gathering this set of information, who am I speaking with? What are you looking for? Why is it important to you? Is I offer to set an appointment right away. Now, here's one of the fun ways to ask questions. You've noticed I've never asked a yes or no question. So right away, stop asking yes or no questions. Start asking A or B questions, this or that, right? So an example might be if somebody asks they're looking to lose weight, I would tell them, perfect, that's exactly what we do here. We can help you with that. Now, I have an appointment available for a strategy session for today or tomorrow. Which would you like? What this does is it sort of takes no off the table. And if no really isn't an option, then they have to pick today or tomorrow. Now, of course, somebody could say no, or they could refuse, they don't want to. But the percentage of them choosing this one or that one significantly increases over the chance of no by simply leaving no out of the equation. Now, keep in mind, the goal is number one, take control, gather contact information. Goal number two is to set an appointment. We're not trying to sell a membership over the phone. We're trying to set an appointment in order to bring that person in for a test drive, in order to bring that person in to establish the value of what we're doing. Okay. Now, After they set an appointment, we've taken control. We've gathered contact information. Oh, so by the way, I'm going to back up just a little bit. When we talk about gathering contact information, the first question was, who am I speaking with? What are you looking for? Why is that important to you? Which option for an appointment would you like? And the next I tell them is, what is the best email address to send some information to? I'm going to send you information so you can take your time and look at it. This helps people bring their anxiety down and stop worrying so much about the price, because then they're going to start to think, oh, okay, you're going to send me information and then I'll have the price and I can look at it from there. And then I ask, in case we lose touch, what's the best phone number to reach you at? And then the last, I'm going to give you one important question to ask that no one is asking. And this is one of the most important questions. It is, we allow you to bring a training partner to your first day. Who would you like to bring with you? So right out of the gate, we're going to ask for a referral. By telling somebody, we allow you to bring somebody with you, who would you like to bring? It's not a yes or no question, right? They start to wonder, okay, who can I bring? Can I bring my husband? Can I bring my friend? Can I bring my son? Can I bring my daughter? Can I bring my cousin? Can I bring my mother? They start to think about who they can bring with them. And now we're turning a single appointment into a double appointment. And double appointments are easier to close. On top of the fact that we've now turned one lead into two leads, simply by asking, who would you like to bring with you? Now, I know McDonald's is a worldwide corporation. One of the smartest things that McDonald's ever did was they started asking the question, would you like fries with that? And they made so much money in the 70s when they experimented, would you like fries with that, that it led to combo meals. The reason you buy a combo meal instead of just the hamburger is because they have taught you to buy a combo meal. Why do we buy a combo? Why do we have to have fries and soda with the burger? There was no rule that set that up. There was no ancient history of ancient South Americans who, if they had meat, they also had to have potatoes and have a drink, right? We eat this way because McDonald's taught us to eat this way. We're doing something similar, but in a much healthier way with new clients of our business. They're going to bring somebody with them because we're going to teach them, hey, bring someone with you to the gym. And I want them to get into the habit of bringing somebody with them to the gym so they continue to bring referrals. And instead of waiting until they get excellent results and waiting until they've lost 30 pounds and they have this great story and then they start asking for referrals. No, we're going to ask right away. Very, very first time we talk to them, who do you want to bring with you? It also helps them feel more comfortable, like they're not alone, like they're not going to be pressured, or that they can bring a teammate with them. So it's a powerful tool. And I encourage you to ask it. Even if you get 10 inquiries a month and only one person brings somebody with them, that's 12 additional members a year just by asking if they want to bring somebody with them in a polite and friendly way. And then the last important piece is track it. Track your numbers, track your numbers, track your numbers, track your numbers. If you don't track your data, you don't get better at it. I have no doubt in my mind that if I asked any one of the attendees today what your maximum bench is, or what your maximum squat is, or what your maximum deadlift is, or what your fastest, 100 yards, 100 meters is, you could probably tell me, because you track that data, because as a coach, tracking the numbers leads to better results. Sales is the exact same way. Don't ignore the numbers. So 2 important things about tracking. Number one, well, aside from do it. If you're not doing it, do it. Number one is don't get emotional about it. If you're tracking your numbers and you realize that you're terrible at closing people, great. Now you know. Now we can work on that together. You can tell me, hey, I'm terrible at closing. Then I can help you with it. We can get better at it, right? So remove the emotion from the data. There's no such thing as bad data. All data is good data. It's all information that we can use. Number 2 is what to track. So I don't know the process of each one of your businesses, but I'm going to give you numbers to track based on the successful process that I'm going to teach you today. So the number one thing we're going to track is inquiries. How many people reach out and ask about the gym? Okay. Whether that's somebody just comes in and talks to you like, oh, you're a personal trainer. You're at the grocery store. That person counts as an inquiry because they need you to start thinking that everyone needs to be training with you. The world needs to train with you. So if that message needs to be on all the time, it's easier for tracking the numbers. So number 1 is inquiries. We're going to track that number. Number 2, we're going to track how many of those inquiries set an appointment. Then we're going to track how many of those appointments actually show up. Then we're going to track how many people show up to how many people enrolled with you. And then we're going to track how many of those that enrolled gave you a referral. So tracking inquiry to set an appointment, appointment set to appointment showed up to enrolled, and then enrolled to referral. The reason we want to track each one of these numbers is if I know that from inquiry to appointment set is low, is below 50%, that means you have a problem with your inquiry script. I know that if inquiry to enroll, to showing up, inquiry to actually showing up for the appointment sucks, then you have a terrible time with following up and making sure people remember their appointments. If I have a number from appointments showed up to appointments enrolled and that is low, then I know that our closing and our sales process is bad, right? And then I know that if we have enrolled to setting a referral is low, then our referral system needs work. What tracking numbers does helps you focus on what needs work and ignore what doesn't need work. Extremely important, extremely valuable. We can only use it if we track it. So we talked about getting an inquiry. Once somebody inquires before they show up in your gym, we want to do some homework. We want to do some research. So number one, we're going to send a welcome package. Now, if they reach out via email or reach out via text or reach out in some other way, like through a website form or something along those lines, we want to send out some information to them. We want to send an email. And if you get off the phone with them, we want to send them an email. We want to send them a message. We want to stay in contact until they actually enroll. We've got to stay in contact with these people. So we're going to send a welcome package. And that welcome package is going to ask, what do you want to accomplish? Now, if you already know, then your welcome pack, your email, which would be a personalized email, would say, I know you want to accomplish this. If you don't have the information yet, then we want to ask, what do you want to accomplish? Next is, why is this important to you? Because we're looking for the emotional anchor. No one joins the gym ever to burn fat or build muscle. They want what burning fat and building muscle does for them, right? So we need an emotional anchor. Why is this important to your heart? Why do you need this? And the last is, why not? And what I mean by why not is, what has kept you from accomplishing this in the past? So the what is, what is the actual goal? The why is the goal important to you? And the why not is, what is the major obstacle? What has kept you from accomplishing this in the past? Because if I can ask that question, if I can ask, what's it kept you from accomplishing this in the past? And they say, I run out of time. Well, then I know time's going to be a big issue. And if I tell them they got to train 5 days a week, that's going to be a big problem. If they say accountability, like I don't stick to it, then you know accountability is going to be an issue, and you're going to have to chase them down, and you're going to have to focus on keeping them motivated, right? If motivation is an issue. If they say, well, my spouse isn't on board, or my kids eat unhealthy, or my spouse eats unhealthy, or whatever the case may be, then you know that outside influence is going to be a problem, and you're going to have to give them tools to work on their outside influence. Because if you can understand what someone wants, what it means to them, and what their major obstacle is, and you can communicate that to that person, I understand you, that is some of the most powerful phrasing and wording you can use in any sales situation. The minute anyone feels like that you understand them is the minute you really take power and control of the sales process, because that's what people want. People want to work with people they like and people that understand them. There's nothing worse than somebody joining a gym, some super beefy dude, and he's like, you just got to eat chicken and broccoli every day. That doesn't work for anybody. That works for you crazy heads. That doesn't work for the average person. They have to feel like you understand them. And if they do feel like you understand them, they will be your client for life. That's the single most important thing, is whether or not they feel like you understand them. All right, moving on. Next step. So step number 2, they're here. This means they show up at your place. So whether you're working at another gym, whether you have your own place, or whether you're a home trainer, doesn't matter. Where you are doesn't matter. Remember, the toys don't matter, the stuff doesn't matter, the gym doesn't matter. If I told you right now, I wanted to lose weight and I've got a 3 meter by 3 meter space, no equipment, I bet every single one of you could write a program for training and eating that could help me lose weight. That's with no gear and just 3 meter by 3 meter space. You could do that, because that's what it means to be professional. All the equipment does, and all the tech and everything else, all that ever does is accelerate the process. So when we talk about where you are, whatever you are, this is more about how you make them feel, right? So when somebody shows up, how you make them feel is the most important part. Number 1, be prepared ahead of time. There's nothing worse than somebody showing up and you're not ready, and you're shuffling, you're trying to put things together, or you're finishing up with a client. The best way you can show someone you care is to be prepared ahead of time. It's so important. I've put it down twice. Be prepared ahead of time. This is how important it is. Be prepared ahead of time. It's this important to be prepared that I want you to remember this image. Be prepared. That's how powerful it is, because you've got one shot to let someone know that you care. And if we can do it in a systematic way, then we do it the same way every single time, and we get better at it and better at it and better at it. Okay, now that we're prepared, have a formal file ready. What I mean by that is if somebody shows up and you're like, yeah, sit down and let's just talk and be casual, and you sit and you talk and you don't write anything down, you don't ask any good questions, you don't make them feel like this is a professional environment. And that's one of the things our industry struggles with most is professionalism. Trainers do stupid stuff. They put up videos making fun of clients. They put up videos making fun of women at the gym or making fun of men at the gym. It's unprofessional. And the one way that we can move this industry forward is to be more professional. And so having a file ready, that would just be a folder with someone's name on it. You can even write it, or you can print it out on a label maker. But having a folder with someone's name on it would show, oh my gosh, this person's ready. They're professional. They're ready to go. That's super powerful, and it costs next to nothing. You just have a folder with the questions you want to ask, okay? And with the interview you want to have with that person, ready to write things down, ready to take them seriously. If people think that you take their goals seriously, it's easy to get them enrolled. Next, we're going to open with a yes. Now, normally I like to role play and practice this, but since we're digital and online, and because you guys probably speak way better English than my Portuguese, I don't know any Portuguese at all, 0%. You guys are so much braver and smarter than me, but I can help you with selling. Anyway, on that point, open with a yes. So here's how this technique works. If Felix was coming in to talk to me and he walked in on the first day and I knew he was coming and I knew he was my 2 o'clock, the first thing I would say is, you must be Felix. That's a yes question. He's going to say, yes, I am. If I said, you must be my 2 o'clock, he would say, yes, I am. And then if I said, did you find the place okay? He would say, yes, I did, because he's here. These are yes framed questions. And what they do is they set the tone for the rest of the conversation. The word yes actually creates a smile. It releases oxytocin. It releases dopamine, all the hormones that you want somebody to feel good. So simply asking yes framed questions helps set a positive tone for everything that's going to come afterwards. So here's a series. You must be their name. You found the place okay. And third is, are you ready to get started? And as we do that, we're going to nod. We're going to nod our head yes. Okay. And then next, here's something super important. And this is, again, a big mistake. Practice your handshake. Now, right now during COVID, we might not have a handshake. Some people like to handshake, some don't. Some people like a fist bump, some like an elbow bump. Some cultures don't even handshake. They bow. Whatever your greeting is, practice it. Make sure you know it and lead the charge, because the person coming in is not going to know what you're comfortable with. They're not going to know if it's okay to shake hands or fist bump or wave hello or bow or whatever gesture it is you're going to make. But whatever it is, be decisive, because remember, you have to take charge here. You're the coach. You're the professional. You are a professional counselor. There isn't a single salesperson among you. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a professional coach. You aren't salespeople. You are a professional coach. The money just happens to be a byproduct of what we're trying to accomplish. So the more professional we can be, the more prepared we can be, the more we take the lead on this is how a greeting works. This is what we're going to do. Hello and welcome. I'm so excited you're here. Please have a seat. By taking charge, people will fall into step. People want to be told what to do. I guarantee you most people don't want to come in and think about their workout a lot. They want to come in, just be told what to do, get a great workout in, feel good about themselves, and then be on their way to their crazy busy lives. All right. Now, this is why it's important to practice your handshake. I don't even know what's happening here. I don't know whether Obama's trying to dunk or whatever the case may be. But when you don't practice your handshake, you don't practice your greeting, you don't take charge, things go awry, things go goofy. So be prepared, practice your handshake, have a file ready. Now, relax. They're here on purpose. And our little guy over here says, calm down, bro. All right. And the reason I need you to relax is when someone shows up in your business, someone shows up at your gym, it's easy to be stressed. It's easy to be stressed thinking, I got to convince this person. I have to make this sale. I've got bills to pay. There's so much stress and anxiety that comes with Well, with being an entrepreneur, with building your own business. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's not even easy to be a personal trainer in somebody else's gym. It's difficult because you might be competing over clients or competing over other things. But the more you can stay relaxed, especially in front of your client, the more likely they are to follow you in what you want them to do or what you're asking them to do. And I wrote down here, they're here on purpose. Remember, people are here to enroll. They're here to sign up. They're already ready to go. You just have to not screw it up. So here's how we do that. Be a good host, not a salesperson. Be a host, just like you would host family at your place, at your flat or apartment or house. Be a good host because that's what you are. You're not a salesperson. Welcome to my home. Welcome to my space. Welcome to my gym. I'm excited you're here. I'm glad you're here. Can I get you something to drink? Can I get you something to eat? Would you like a protein shake? Would you like a protein bar? Would you like a bottle of water? The moment you can start to treat people like friends and like family, the more comfortable and relaxed they get and the faster they build trust. The other important thing is don't be afraid of small talk. If somebody wants to come in and talk to you about, the latest sports, or baseball or football or whatever it is that they want to talk about, not American football, which my mentor calls hand egg, right? Because soccer is actually football. American football is hand egg. So real football. Don't be afraid of small talk. If somebody's sharing little details with you, whether it's about a recent movie, whether it's about sports, whether it's about something going on, if they start to share little details with you, it means they like you and they want to share a part of their lives with you. So keep that door open. Let them talk about that. Once we've acted like a host and we've offered something to eat and we're starting to listen, this is where we start to build rapport and establish trust. Now, building rapport is about building a connection with somebody. If you notice, we're at step 3. And everything right now is to make it easy about building a relationship, because that's what this is all about. It's about building a relationship. And here's the biggest problem with relationship building when it comes to communication. The biggest communication problem is that we do not listen to understand. We listen to reply. We're not trying to understand where this person is coming from. We're waiting for them to finish so we can give them our response. That takes us out of the moment. That means we're not listening. And remember, the number one thing you can do for a client is show them that you understand. Show them that you understand. One of the ways to do that is by asking follow-up questions to the things they say. If they say, yeah, I've done some training in the past, ask about it. What kind of training? Traditional, CrossFit, you've done weightlifting, you've done running. Tell me about your training. Tell me about your history. The words "tell me about you" or "tell me about this" or "tell me about that" are a great way to show somebody that you understand, or that you want to understand from an even deeper level, that you want to understand on a grander scale or in a deeper way. So make sure that we are listening to understand, not listening to respond. By the way, this is great relationship advice. So you can practice with your significant other, your spouse, your friends, your family members. All this stuff you can practice with these people because they are life skills. And that's really all that selling is. All that sales is. I've got all these steps and rules and systems and all that, but the baseline of what it is relationships. The better you are at relationships, the better you're going to be at selling. It starts with understanding. So in 1 minute, you can build rapport with somebody. And the fastest way to do it in 60 seconds is to find something you have in common. It could be the fact that you both like button-up shirts. Like right now, I can see my image and I can see Bruno, the interpreter's image, and I can see that I'm wearing a maroon button-up shirt. And in his image, he's wearing a blue collared shirt. It looks like a polo shirt. And even if I just said, hey, man, I love that shirt. And in fact, I do. I like that color. I've got one in that color as well. We start to build connection just by having something small in common. It could just be a shirt. It could be a favorite sports team. It could be anything along those lines. Now, before in the beginning, when I said, do your research, right? I'm going to jump back there here. And I said, talk about welcome packet, right? Asking these things. I just realized I forgot to mention Instagram, Google, and Facebook. When you discover who somebody is, get on Instagram, find out what they like. Get on Google search that person, do some research. Get on Facebook and find out what kind of things do they like? What kind of groups do they follow? Because what we're looking for is common ground. So before that person ever even comes into the space, take 5 minutes to do some homework and find out about that person. Because once you have common ground and you find that you have something in common, It's an extremely powerful way to connect with somebody in a very easy way. Now, here's what I mean by that. If you get on Instagram and you realize that they love Disney, right? And you like certain things Disney, you could just bring it up in conversation. Now, I don't recommend that you go through and you like all of their bikini pics from a 2014 vacation. That's not a good technique. But the more you can find common ground, if they like dogs or cats or animals, or they love food, the more ammunition it gives you to bring up in conversation to find things that you have in common, to build rapport. You can do it in 60 seconds. As long as you're willing to find something that you have in common. Could be as deep as a favorite book and why, or it could be as surface level as, hey, we both like button-up shirts. That's it. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Remember, sales doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be specific. All right. Now, here's the next important one. Their goals, their language, their gym. Remember, it's all about them, right? And when I mean their goals, their language, their gym, let's break it down into some sections that make it easy to do, right? So when we talk about what somebody else wants, there are only 4 reasons somebody joins a gym. That's it. It might feel like you've got 300 clients and all 300 of them want something different. They don't. They either want to improve how they look. They want to look better. They want to improve how they move. They want to move better. They want to improve how they feel. They feel like crap. They want to feel better. Or they want better athletic performance. They want to perform better. Save that one for last. They want to perform better, right? So they want to either look better, move better, feel better, or perform better. It's only ever going to be one of those 4 things. Every single other category falls into one of those 4 things. So if you know that and you start to have an understanding of this person wants to feel better, right? We're not going to talk about athletic performance. We're not going to talk about mobility necessarily, or we're not going to talk about how they look or how their clothes feel. They just want to feel better. They feel like crap. They're tired. They're overburdened. They're stressed out. They just want to feel better. We're going to singularly focus on that thing. As we start to discover these individual pieces, we're going to ignore everything else. The best way to make it about somebody else is to singularly focus on what they do. Now, one of the things that Americans are really guilty of is more is better, right? We want bigger trucks. We want bigger servings of food. More is always better. It's not. More is not better. Better is better, and focused is better. So if they say, I want to look better, right? I want to look better. I want to lose some weight. And I want to look better in my clothes. I want to feel more confident when I go out. We're not going to spend any time talking about anything other than how they want to look. Now, you might do 100 other services and be capable of 100 other things. None of that matters because it's not important to them. The only thing that matters is what's important to them. So figure out which one of the 4 it is and stay focused on that. Next is dig deep, get emotional, and defend it with logic, right? Every decision somebody makes is an emotional decision. And they either stick to that decision or they back up on that decision if the logic doesn't come in place. So let's make somebody up. Mrs. Johnson doesn't want to lose weight. What she wants is to show up and pick her kids up from school and have all the other wives grab their husbands and pull them away from her, right? That's what she wants, something deep, on a deeper level connection. Now, I know it's surface level and I know it's body type, and we've got all sorts of really important movements like body positivity and things like that. But we need to get to the deep root of what somebody wants. They want to not be made fun of. They want to feel like attractive again, or they may have just been entered the dating scene again and they want to start dating again, or they want to find somebody, or they want to look good for themselves because they like to wear certain clothes that they don't feel like they can wear. Got to get to the emotional anchor. And we just want to keep asking, why is that important to you? Usually if I'm working live with a group of coaches in person, I would pick one coach out and I would say, why do you train? And they'll train to say, oh, I want to stay healthy. And I ask, well, why do you want to stay healthy? And they're like, well, it's important. Health's important. I'd keep digging and ask why, but why is health important? Then I start to get information like, my grandfather died of a heart attack and my family has heart disease that runs in the family. And it's important to me that I want to be around for my kids. When we start hearing things like that, that's the truth. The truth is the emotional anchor about what people want. Once we get to the emotional anchor, then we start to tie in logic. Well, here's how we accomplish that. Now, here's when logic goes wrong, is when somebody says, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to lose 50 pounds in 6 months. We'll get trainers that will lie and say, oh yeah, we can do 50 pounds in 6 months. And well, that's the kind of unethical stuff that the industry does. That's kind of stuff that we got to stop doing, that we got to make sure that we're acting professional, that we're giving some reality, that we're saying, here's what I believe we can accomplish, and giving them a clearly outlined, definitive, logical way of how we're going to get to what's emotionally important to them. Now, in doing this, finding out what's important to them, what it is that they want, getting emotional, defending it with logic, we still have to communicate it in their language. So we start using insider language, like, all right, we're going to do a bunch of, I'm going to set you up a program that's going to work your gluteal maximus and minimal and your Lazarus side flank. Look, I don't even know the words. Like, seriously, I don't know the words because I don't care, because none of that matters to the client who's just like, I want my butt to be slamming. Can you help me or not? And that's the important part. So use their language. I'll give you the best example. My favorite example is one time I sat down with a client and I just asked her straightforward. I said, okay, in a perfect world, what happens? Tell me the one thing you want, the one most important thing. And she said, I want a banging ass. And after I was done laughing, I wrote it down on her paper in big letters. I want a banging ass, because that's what she wanted. That was what was important to her. And I used her language. A lot of the times when we use our language, the insider language, muscle language and exercise choice and multi-phase programming and cross-lateral movement, all that kind of crap. We start using that language. We do that for ourselves to show the other person that we're smart. We don't do it for them. We're trying to demonstrate, hey, I'm really smart and I know more than you. And here's all the fancy words that I know. None of that works because they don't feel like you understand. If you want that person to feel like you understand, you must speak and use the words that they use. If they say, I want to get tone, your response is great. I'm going to help you get tone. And then we've got lots of time to figure out the details of what that means for them, right? And then finally, once we have this information, we want to paint a picture of the future for them, right? So you want to take the language and the words, which is really important, and paint a picture of the future and ask questions like, okay, 3 months down, 3 months on, you've lost 10 pounds. Tell me how you feel. How's that going to make you feel? How do your clothes feel? And then we start to paint a picture of what the future looks like of success with you and working with you. And after all this work and effort that they've put in, what is that going to feel like? And if we can get them in that moment to feel it, then it becomes really easy to persuade them at the end. Okay, now all we have to do is sign up for it. And I promise we can get there. And then you keep your promise. That's it. You create raving fans. It's awesome. Now, the one way you can get language right is by using the words that they use, right? Your language matters. If you don't believe in language matters, now the next slide I'm going to show you is all in English, but I'm going to say a few of them so our amazing interpreter can interpret what you see if you don't read or speak English. This is why it's so important to use the right language. One of these ones in the middle says, touch one, touch all. I don't know what business that is, and I don't want to know what business that is. One of the signs says, any person having currently active diarrhea or who have had active diarrhea within the previous 14 days shall not be allowed in the pool area. That doesn't make me want to go for a swim. And my second question is, who's checking? When you use the wrong language, the message just gets destroyed. The message just gets broken, and people don't understand what's going on because you're using language that people don't understand, or you're not putting conscious effort into it. Now, I'm sure one of the things that you guys have heard as communicators is that it's 80% how you say it, your body language, and 20% what you say, something like that. I disagree. It is 100% what you say and 100% how you say it. You can't leave one without the other. You got to have both. So choose the right language and deliver it the right way. And again, the easiest way to choose the right language is to use the words that they use. Just repeat the words back. Whatever it is that they say, repeat back. That'll let them know that you understand. All right, so now we got language in the boat. We were establishing some rapport. We're establishing some value. For most gyms and most fitness professionals, most personal trainers, I recommend doing some sort of assessment. And here's why. The assessment, and one of the most common is the FMS. It's one of the ones that a lot of the Perform Better people use, is a coaching preview. What that is that gives the client an opportunity to find out, how do you coach? How do you train somebody? So we want to avoid making them feel bad, right? Now, although they may have a terrible squat, let's say you're doing an FMS or some assessment and you're looking at their squat pattern, you can see that they don't go below parallel, that their knees shift to one side, that their body shifts to one side. The response is always going to be perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Good or bad, that's the right answer. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for, because it is exactly what you're looking for. You're looking to see if there's a problem or an issue with a movement pattern or whatever the case may be. But when you respond perfect, that's exactly what I'm looking for. The way that that person takes it is, oh, I'm what you're looking for. And this flips the script. We spend so much time trying to prove we're the right place for you. I'm the right trainer. I'm the right programmer. I'm the right person for you. We're trying to prove ourselves, and we need to turn it the other way around by saying, you're the kind of athlete I'm looking for. You're the kind of client I'm looking for. I think we're a good match. Flipping the script like that keeps the power in your court. All right. Now, this is one of the cool ways we can get personal. So we talked about building rapport, right? And building rapport is about getting personal and understanding that person. During that time, people start to share things with you like, I would love to be able to get up and down off the floor and play with my kids, right? And people struggle with things like that. And this is where you take that information of what they struggle with and give them a slight preview of what improvement could look like. So for example, if you were taking somebody through a deep squat movement pattern test, they had a really, really bad squat, and you knew that they wanted to be able to get up and down off the floor to play with their kids. And you took that person and you walked them over to a TRX and you helped them do an assisted squat. All of a sudden, their butt is all the way down on the floor and they're realizing, oh, wait a minute, I can move this way and this person can help me. So this is the perfect opportunity to right in the moment, if you can, with the right exercise, show them some improvement on how we can make their lives better based on what it is that they want. If they want to move better, then we'll do something that focuses on that. If they want to look better, then we'll do something that might create a little bit of burn in their butt or a little bit of burn in their biceps, something they could feel like, oh, okay, I feel this working. And we all know as trainers and fitness professionals that you don't have to feel that muscle burned or hurt or in pain or whatever to know that it's working something. Pain's really generally a bad thing, but the client has to feel something. And if you can set the client up to feel something, just the tiniest bit, then becomes super powerful. They feel like you know exactly what you're talking about and they want to follow you because they can feel it. There's no substitute for feeling it. But please don't kill anybody because you don't want to burn them out, making sure that they wake up tomorrow morning, they can't get up off the toilet. You guys watching right now, if you wake up the next morning and you can't get up off the toilet because you work out, you're like, yeah, crushed it. The other person's like, crap, I'm going to be late for work and it's going to hurt all day and this is going to suck and I hate it. So for you, great. For them, remember, we want to keep them feeling it, but feeling good. All right. Now, the next thing is going to be the tour of the future. If you have your own space or you're working in a space, we want to give them a tour focusing on what the equipment does and how it benefits for that person. The toys in the space, and again, we talked about the toys. Toys in the space only matter when you know why they matter. By the time we're giving them a tour or explaining what we do or showing them around our garage, our home, or whatever equipment that we brought and we're explaining the equipment, we don't explain any of that until now. And the reason we don't explain it until now is because now we know everything that's important to them. Now we know why it matters, why what they want matters, or how it's all related to the equipment, right? How a kettlebell can help somebody move better, look better, feel better, perform better, right? Otherwise, it's just a kettlebell. But if I know they want to perform better, if I know they want to be a better athlete, if I know that they are a track and field athlete, how's a kettlebell swing going to improve a track and field athlete? I'm sure you guys know the answer, but we don't know that that's the important answer until we find out what's important to them. So the toys in the space only matter when they matter, and when we know why. Now, the technique we're going to use is something called feature benefit feedback. Feature benefit feedback is done like this. Imagine a kettlebell. That's the feature. The kettlebell is the thing. The benefit is a kettlebell can help you. With a kettlebell comes a kettlebell swing, one of my favorite exercises. The reason I love a kettlebell swing is that it requires connection from the foot to the rest of the body. All right. And although we're swinging the weight out on the floor, it is pressure applied into the ground, force applied into the ground. It's really what a kettlebell swing is, right? As you do that swing, you're applying force through your heels to bring the swing up. And force applied to the ground is the foundation from every single sport. Every single athletic sport, except for maybe race car driving where you're sitting down, is force applied into the ground. Makes every sport better. So by being able to communicate force applied into the ground for your football players, well, that's what happens. That planting foot is force applied into the ground for that kicking foot, or whether it's running or kicking or changing directions or dribbling the ball or being able to move and juke quickly. All of that only matters when we know what's important to them. That's the benefit. The benefit is what sells. The feature does not. Kettlebells don't sell. The benefit of the kettlebell, how it relates to that person, that's what sells. Finally, feedback is the last piece. And that feedback would be, hey, kettlebell swing is going to help you with force applied into the ground. It's also going to work your cardio, which means you can run faster, run harder, and you can dominate the football field. And that's important to you, right? And this is the part where they respond with yes. So the feedback is a yes-framed question. If I demonstrate somebody with a TRX, hey, the TRX can actually help you get to a full squat pattern, which will help you make it easier to get up and down off the floor to play with your kids. And I know that's important to you, right? And they say, yes, that's important to me. Great. Now we have that positive feedback reinforcement and we can move on. It's yes framed. So now this is how we demonstrate by making it all about them. This is how we demonstrate that we can help, that I understand that I'm here to help you. And again, the money just happens to be the way we have to interact in order for that to happen. If you can, I like to use a random encounter and find a raving fan. That means if you're working in a gym or you have clients around you, or you have your own gym or your own space where other clients are, introduce them to another client and ask that client, hey, you also wanted to look better. Tell them about your experience of working with me or training with me. For some of you, everything's one-on-one and you might not have that opportunity, but if you have the opportunity to introduce them to a client on the spot, then do so. It's one of the most powerful things you can do is get all of your other clients selling your memberships for you. Finally, find a link to something they love. So if we're talking about dominating the soccer field, that's the link to something they love. If we're talking about playing with their grandkids, that's the link to something they love. That's the emotional anchor. This is why it's important to find the emotional anchor. If you notice, the first half of the entire system is finding out about the person, is discovering. So we can take all of that information and let them know, this is how I'm going to use everything you told me to get you what you want. And the most important thing to me is to get you what you want. And then get hands-on. I talked about demonstrating with TRX or demonstrating with a kettlebell. Stay safe, keep it simple. But if you have the opportunity to put a piece of equipment in their hands or get them moving just a little bit, I highly recommend you do so. Now, the tour can also be customized by personality. Next week, we're going to get a bit more into personality profiles and understanding some of those personalities. But I want to give you an example of what I mean. For some people, coming into your gym is going to be like, welcome home. We're so glad you're here. I'm so excited you're here. This might be an introverted person who's very relationship based. And you probably have clients or people who are like, yeah, the gym is my second home. I love it here. Other people, it's going to be, one of my favorite terms when I was at Results Fitness was Results Fitness Laboratories. Welcome to the exercise laboratory. These are the people that want to know facts, numbers, details, want to understand everything in and out of their program and how it's put together. For them, it's the results lab and they're hiring a professional team. On that professional team note, you might have people that super executives, high power people, professionals, lawyers, doctors, CEOs, other entrepreneurs. These are professionals. And some of the language I like to use with them. So you've got like welcome home for relationship-based people, welcome to Results Fitness Laboratories for the science, and mind-based people. For your professional and your high-level people, I would say thank you for hiring Results Fitness as your consulting firm. That was a smart thing to do. We're your fitness consultants, right? And using that kind of language helps people understand. And then finally, my personality, extroverted, excited people. Welcome to Results Fitness. It's going to be a great time where you're here. I'm so excited. Let's get going. It's going to be like a party for them. So now we're not just communicating on what's important to them or what is they like or what it is that they want, but we're communicating that to them on a way that they understand based on the type of person they are. Are they warm and quiet and introverted? Are they science-minded? Are they professional-minded? Are they party and good time-minded? Pay attention to the person in front of you. And if you can communicate in a way that they understand, everything gets easier and easier and easier. Because again, it's all about them. Now, Going through this entire process, closing is the next natural step. And closing is easy. Closing the sale, so many people put emphasis on closing the sale when it is literally the easiest step. So here's why I say that's the easiest step. Value has already been established. You've told them that you understand them, and you've shown it. You've demonstrated that that what you do and the equipment you have and the things that you have, how it directly relates to what's important to them, what's important to that person, that you understand, that you can help them, that you have everything that they need in order for them to be successful because you've been super specific and super focused on what they want to accomplish. So don't try to convince anybody. Don't try to plead or convince or whatever. There's no fear. You're simply going to tell them, here's what I recommend for you. That's it. It's not a price sheet. It's the way to achieve their goals. So when you pull out the form that says, here's how much it costs. And in fact, it costs this much for training and this much for nutrition program and this much for that. This is where we make professional recommendation. You are professional counsel. Remember, you're not a salesperson. You are professional counsel. So on that note, you're going to tell them, I recommend that you train twice a week, that we start this nutrition program protocol, and then you need to start taking these 3 supplements in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish in the quickest and healthiest way. This is the roadmap. This is what I recommend for you. How would you like to get started? And that's it. Super simple. Don't make it complicated. One of the worst things that people do is they get to the end of the sales process and they're like, okay, you could train 1 time a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week. Did you spend any time asking the question I told you to ask, what the major obstacle was? Because if you could tell them you could train up to 5 days a week for this price, they're going to be intimidated and think, I could never do that. But if this person told you, I have a hard time making time to come into the gym, you're going to recommend, okay, then I recommend coming in twice a week. And we focus on this nutrition. Since you can't make it into the gym, we're going to focus a little bit more heavily on your nutrition, take care of what happens outside the gym. All of this information gathering is designed for us to give them a recommendation. Tell them what to buy. Don't let them choose. They'll choose. Ultimately, they'll be like, I'd rather do 3, I'd rather do 1, I'd rather do 2. But that's not what they're there for. They're there to be coached. And right now, during the sales process, we are coaching. So tell them what to do. Put their plan together. You now have all the information to do that. So make a professional recommendation. Now, there are a couple of tips that make closing a little bit easier. So I'm going to give them to you. Most objections have already been covered, right? So you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, what if there's an objection or they're they don't have enough time or money or spouse. Those are the 3 major objections, right? Money, time, and spouse. You have to realize that objections are buying signals. When somebody says, I don't know if I have the time, that means if you can find a way to make the time work, I will buy it. An objection is a buying signal. They're like, I don't know if I can afford it, right? What that means is overcome that objection and I'll buy it. I can't afford 3 days a week. Okay, let's talk about a 2-day-a-week program. Let's find something that fits your budget. Objections are great. If you hear an objection, it means I'm ready to buy if you can fix this problem. And then the single most important tip for closing is to be patient and shut up. Just be quiet. Be quiet. Here's what I recommend. Here's how much it costs. How would you like to get started? Cash or credit card? What's easiest for you? And then shut up. Wait. As long as it takes. Don't make any words. Don't make any, try to convince and be like, well, if you can't afford it, if you do this, or remember, no convincing. Don't interrupt. Because what's happening is that person right now is thinking about, what should I do? What changes should I make? What should I do? If I stop drinking so much coffee and maybe I cancel my Netflix, that they're trying to convince themselves to do it. So you have to be quiet and let them do that. Now, because this is a sales process I'm teaching you, of course they said yes. So they said yes. It's important to get excited about it. Number 1, close with a handshake. Now, this was a technique we used before COVID. So you're going to have to decide on a case-by-case basis. But if you say, congratulations, welcome to the gym, I'm excited you're here, and you shake their hand, that physical connection is helps people really truly understand and bond that you actually care, right? They understand that you care because you're making a physical connection again. It's hard to do right now. So there's a couple of other ways to do it. You can close with a handshake, you can close with a fist bump, or you can put your hands over your heart and say, I'm so excited you decided to enroll. We're going to get some great work done. All right. Whatever it is, make a connection. Don't hide your excitement. If you're excited that somebody signed up, tell them, oh, I'm so excited. Great. Let's get started. Let's go. If they're going to make a decision that for a lot of people, this is a difficult decision to make. They need that immediate positive reinforcement from their coach, which is you, to let them know, okay, I made the right decision. If you can share the work, if you have teammates and admins and anybody else in your gym, and you can say, hey, come on over. This person is signing up. Come and say, hi, I want you to meet somebody, or other coaches, whatever the case may be. The more you can get more people involved in that enrollment process, the more they'll feel like, wow, everybody cares. And this place is great. And the environment's good. And the culture's good. And I love it here because everybody cares. So if you can, get other people involved, get members involved, get staff involved. If you have either one of those things. If you don't, you got to bring the charisma yourself. You got to bring the excitement yourself, but don't hide it. Now, super important tip, set their appointment first. Before you take any money, any cash, any credit card or anything, they're like, okay, I want to sign up. I want to do 2 days a week. I'm going to sign up for a year. I'll go ahead and pay by credit card. You tell them, get excited. And then tell them, all right, let's focus on the most important thing and set your first training appointment. Because what they're going to expect is for you to ask for the money first. But when you set their first training appointment as the very first thing you do, you're sending a signal that says training is the single most important thing. The money will get taken care of. But more than anything else, I care about your training. This helps fight buyer's remorse. And this helps them, again, reinforce that they make it a good decision and that they chose the right person. Now, getting a piece of yellow paper, like a copy of their contract, if that's all they get when they sign up, that sucks. They just sign up for a gym. Their life's about to be changed. They're building new relationships. They're committing to coming in 2 or 3 times a week. Don't let them leave with just a copy of their contract, right? We want to give them something. So here's what we're going to give. Number one, an expectation of what their first session is. So, and again, what are they walking out with? What feeling are they walking out with when they sign up with you? What are they physically walking out with when they sign up with you? So number one, that feeling. I always say for the first session, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's going to be like a 6 because we need to understand how you move and want to refine your programming based on that. You might show up for your first session, absolutely crush it. And we got to crank everything up. You might show up for your first session and run into some challenges. And we want to make sure that you stay safe. But during your first session, we're going to walk you through it step by step and make sure you have everything you need to succeed. That brings anxiety down, lets them know you care, and sets up, here's what happens next. People function better when they know what happens next. Next, we want to give them a kickstart kit. This is super important. Now, here's what I mean by a kickstart kit. It might be a t-shirt, like you see the Results Fitness gang in here. They get to pick a t-shirt. It might be it might be some supplements, something that you sell. It might be nutrition, gift certificate to the shake bar, a tumbler. Results Fitness had a shake bar, sold supplements. At the time, had nutrition training and personal training. And so they signed up for personal training. They got a free 30 days of a multivitamin, a whole month. And they got a gift certificate to the shake bar and a cup for that to get their free shake. And a gift certificate for nutrition coaching. Now, why did they get all this stuff for free? They got it all for free because I want them to get into the habit of buying it regularly. So if I give you this multivitamin, I tell you, take it for a month, and I give you one. For the next year that you're with me, the next 11 months following, you're going to spend money on multivitamins and probably vitamin D and probably fish oil because I'm building the habit by giving it to you in the beginning. Same thing with the shake bar. You get a tumbler and they get a free protein shake. And I offer them a free protein shake for their first workout. I offer them a free protein shake when they first come in the gym. And the reason we do that is to get them in the habit of doing so. You have to help people build habits, not just healthy habits. Now, here's the thing. We absolutely recommend a multivitamin. We absolutely recommend that you follow up with a protein shake after your workout. There's real science behind that. And I need you to be in that habit. So it isn't just a healthy habit. It is a profit habit. And both of those things can exist, right? You can make profit and be an ethical business and truly help people. Those things don't fight against each other. Those things work together. So teach people how to spend money at your gym. And this is one of the ways that we do that. Next, set them up on a reoccurring schedule. This is going to help with accountability and consistency. All right, so we're coming in on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Why don't we set it up Tuesday at 5 o'clock for the next 52 weeks? And then if something needs to change, you can call and change your appointment, whatever the case may be. All right. Set them up for success by putting them on a reoccurring schedule. Okay. Make a regular habit out of that. Also, when somebody feels like they have a reserved spot for them every single week, that really makes them feel special. And then a last second surprise. So you know how I mentioned the t-shirt, right? In mentioning that t-shirt, the reason is because I like to give it out at the end, almost as if I forgot. And we have a bunch of t-shirts to choose from. Guys, t-shirts are cheap. They're super cheap. People want a reason to show somebody that I'm a member of this gym or I'm a member of this place. This is why when people go to places or they visit, Brazil, and you've got Brazil t-shirts everywhere, and you've got all sorts of Brazil themes and all sorts of stuff and colors and all the stuff that Brazil is famous for all over t-shirts, because it is a simple way for people to show other people, I like this thing. They need to be able to do that about your gym. You need to turn them into walking billboards. T-shirts are cheap. Build it into the cost of your membership. Build it into the cost of your training. All right. You should have a cost outline of how much it costs to get a new client. Your Kickstart kit, your t-shirt and all that should be part of your budget. What is my budget for getting a new client? That's something we'll work on a little bit later for a bit more details numbers wise. But this is something I need you to start thinking about. It costs money to get clients. Now keep in mind, you're going to trade the $150 it takes for that client, for whatever the translation is to Brazilian money. You're going to trade that for 10 times the amount with their membership, at least 10 times the amount. You do that every day, all day long. So start building these costs into your budget, right? You'll get more referrals, you'll get more clients, and people have a greater experience. If you can't do all of this at once, right? You can't afford to do all of this at once. Do t-shirts. Single most important thing. Can't do all of it. Get t-shirts. All right. And then when it comes to the end, they've signed up, they've enrolled, they've built rapport, they have this relationship with you, they've gotten their t-shirt, they're going to put it on, they're going to call somebody and be like, hey, I just signed up at this gym, it's awesome, got a t-shirt, they love this, they love that. They're going to want to tell people what they've done. So now we have to help them do that. Give me 1 second here. My mouse is being a little bit funny. There we go. We have to help them tell people. So here's how we help them tell people. If we're paying attention, give a 30-day VIP membership for someone specific. Here's what I mean by that. We've spent all this time building rapport, all this time building relationship. During that time, they're going to share things about family. They're going to share things about siblings, about best friends. Pay attention to who they mention, because this is the perfect spot to go, you mentioned your husband a little while back. And I love training with my spouse. I think it's one of my favorite ways to bond is to work out together. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them a 30-day pass. This is my gift to you for you guys to train together. Totally my gift. All right. And then I'll set up an appointment with him and you give that pass and you ask, what's their name? The name's Felix. Great. I'm going to write that on there. Felix. Perfect. This is for Felix. Make sure that he gets it. By the way, if he's not going to use it, bring it back, because I don't want those passes everywhere. So if you're not going to use it, go ahead and bring it back. What that does is that establishes some value for what you do, but it also gives that person the incentive. Oh, great. Something extra, another bonus, when you're literally just asking for another referral. So within the first time of meeting this person, you've asked for a referral twice, and we're getting them in the habit of bringing people into the gym, of asking for referrals, of bringing new business to you. We want to turn every lead into 3. Every single lead gets turned into 3 by asking for a referral in the beginning, a referral in the end. Okay. And then finally, rinse and repeat. Do it again. If any single idea I've given you gives you one more client, right? That means you've taken the time out of your Saturday as this super bonus. This one idea gives you one more client. Here's the cool things about ideas. You just do it again. And the next month, and you do it again. And then you do it again, and you're doing it again. It's the same as training, rinse and repeat. Do it again and do it again and do it again. You get better at the system. You get better results. You take people through the entire process again. That means when that person gives you a referral, you bring them in for their own appointment. They come in for their own appointment. You ask them for a referral. You take them through the process. You get to the end of the process and you ask them for a referral. So now you've taken that one referral that you got from somebody else and turned it into another 3 leads. This simply comes down to knowing when to ask, what to do, and how to put it together. I'm sure if you look back at everything that we've talked about, you probably, for most of you, like, yeah, that makes sense, of course. Or I already do some of that. Remember, sales doesn't have to be hard at all. It just has to be specific. The more specific you are, the more successful you're going to be. All right. That wraps up the system. I'm going to open it up for some Q&A, for some questions. A couple of things I want you to know. Get onto Instagram and follow me. I put tons of free content out there all the time. Instagram translates that stuff for you. Unless you guys are super smart and you speak more than one language, because us dumb Americans, none of us ever speak any more than one language. But get on, follow me on Instagram, and get on to sellitlikescarr.com. Sellitlikescarr.com is my business website. And if you opt in to sellitlikescarr.com, I have a guide on how to make the perfect first impression, the first impression that no one will ever forget who you are. And sign up, it's free. And then you can also get on my email list, and I send out tons and tons of free content all the time that's easy to translate online. But again, I'm so excited you're here. We've got lots of time for questions, so bring them on.
Não tem como terminar desse jeito. Muito bom, Elias. Olha, eu anotei aqui, acho que foram umas quase 20 dicas, sendo que muitas coisas eu vou ter que assistir de novo. Muitas coisas eu vou ter que assistir novamente, porque são muitas estratégias muito fáceis realmente de aplicar, que os detalhes fazem uma grande diferença enquanto os nossos participantes vão colocando aqui as perguntas deles. Esse guia do seu novo website eu baixei hoje de manhã, achei impressionante realmente de fazer a primeira impressão, né? Você só tem a chance curta ali de fazer uma primeira impressão. E aí eu vou te fazer uma pergunta pessoal aqui, que é uma coisa que realmente é difícil hoje na minha carreira, mas que eu preciso melhorar. Qual seria a melhor estratégia para eu aumentar o valor da minha hora-aula, se eu já tenho esse cliente fidelizado? Você sabe que as pessoas às vezes não aceitam muito aumentos, né? Fica sempre muito difícil. Como é que você recomendaria esse aumento ou essa estratégia?
Great question. So there's a couple of ways to do that. So the number one thing I always recommend when you're increasing your rates is keep the rates for everybody you have and increase the rates for everybody new. So the people that are with you, they stay at their own rates, and increase the rates for everybody else new coming in the door. Here's one of the reasons I recommend that. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that. So if you tell everybody, hey, our current membership is $300 a month. It's going to go up to $350 a month. Anybody that you know, friends, families, neighbors, anybody that wants to get in at $300 a month, they have 1 week. Price goes up after that. That's one of the ways to generate new income and new members at the old price, which should still be a price that generates income for you, unless you're making a huge jump. On top of that, it's a great opportunity to send out something we call an amnesty letter to former members and say, hey, you're a former member. We'd love to have you here. I just wanted to let you know we're about to do a price increase, but since you were a former member, if you come back in the next 2 weeks, we're going to give you your old price back to come back into the gym. So it's one option. One is increase it for everybody going forward. If you want to increase the rates for everybody at the gym or for loyal clients, the best strategy is complete, wide open honesty. Is to just be blatantly honest in the kindest, friendly way possible. But there's an order of doing this. Now, I'm going to teach you a technique of persuasion, of getting one of my favorite persuasion techniques. One of the things that we do when we want something from somebody, whether it's them to pay a higher price or whether it's to help us move, right? Nobody likes to help people move, to help us move their house. We make the mistake of doing all the buttering up and the friendly stuff first, right? Actually, let me change I'm going to stop my screen share if that's all right. Does that work for you guys? So you can see me.
Sim, você vai ficar maior na tela.
There we go. Okay. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is, let's say, Felix, I ran into you on the street and I was like, Felix, man, it's good to see you. How's it going? It's been so long since we've hung out. It's just so, it's great to see you. What have you been up to? And then I asked you a question. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? You're feeling like, oh, we should go out to eat, or we should go out and get some food, or we want to hang out. And you're like, oh, I've got nothing going on this weekend. I'm like, great, because I need help moving my house. Can you come help me move? All of a sudden, you're like, oh, that's the worst. And you feel obligated because you got caught, because you told them, I'm not, you didn't have any plans, right? You got trapped in it. We flipped that around. And I said, hey, man, how's it going? It's good to see you. I'm moving this weekend. My life is crazy. I've got like so much going on with moving my house. Look, if you got time this weekend and you're available, I know it's last minute. I could totally use some help. Don't worry. I'll pay for beers and tacos or pizza or whatever you want. But if you could help me move, I'd love it. But look, if you can't, I still want to get together with you. It's been so long since we've hung out. We should definitely go out and get some food and hang out together. Now, how do you feel? Right? I was open up front. And then I told the truth with, I miss you. I wish we could hang out. So when you want something for somebody, say what you want first, then go into, it's great to see you. It's nice, or appreciative, or gratitude, right? So with clients, it would say, I would say, it's time for a rate increase based on the cost of goods and everything that we have going on, and the pressures that's been put on by the pandemic. Keep it short. The pressures has been put on by the pandemic and the way the business is going. It's time for this business to grow. And in order to grow, I have to increase the rates. Start with that. Then following that, I'm so grateful for your business. In fact, my business wouldn't even be where it is without you. Without you, I wouldn't be helping as many people as I'm helping. And I just wanted to take a moment and express my gratitude. So start with what you want, then end with gratitude. Remember, people remember how you made them feel. So that needs to be the last impression. Don't do it the other way around. We start with, thank you so much for being a member and all your years of loyalty and service and all that kind of stuff. Oh, also, we're going to charge you more money. That's the feeling they get left with. So start with what you want and then give them the feels. Then go for the feels. Does that help?
Perfeito, entendi. Já vou começar a aplicar.
Great. Just be honest. People want to help.
Sim.
And it's okay to say, like with your clients, hey, we're going to do a rate increase and I need your help. It's okay to say I need your help. Because if you truly do what you do, and I know you and your business and how much you actually care, they're probably feeling like it's time for a rate increase as well. Now, not everybody's going to have empathy or get behind it. You may lose some people, but I guarantee you the vast majority of people are going to want to help your business survive. Because if you don't do the rate increase and the business goes under, they lose their gym.
Entendi. Show, show. Elias, temos algumas perguntas aqui e eu vou falando em português e o nosso amigo Bruno vai traduzindo para você. A primeira pergunta da Suelen Amorim. Sensacional, parabéns, Elias. Tenho uma certa dificuldade em quebrar o gelo em determinados casos. Como quebrar o gelo no primeiro contato quando o possível aluno é mal-humorado ou não está nem aí para o que você está explicando?
Okay, that's a great question. Wonderful question. Two techniques. One is to call it like you see it. And what I mean by call it like you see it is to say, you can put it in their corner, you can put it in your corner. Both of them work. So let's talk about the first one, putting it in their corner. You would say I'm sensing some frustration or that this isn't important to you. And it sounds like I'm going the wrong direction. So tell me what it is that you're actually looking for, what it is important to you. If you have, it's okay to tell somebody what you're feeling, right? Because that surprises people. What that requires is vulnerability. And if you can be vulnerable first, then that other person will follow with vulnerability. And if they don't follow with vulnerability and they're jerk and they don't give a rat's ass, send them on their way. You don't need to train those people. Not everybody wants to be on your team. Let them go. Don't worry about it. But if you want to break the ice, you can put it in their corner by saying, I feel like you're not into it and I'm explaining the wrong thing. Or I feel like I don't quite understand. So tell me a little bit more. It's really important to me that I understand. Okay. The other is to put it in your corner. And this is a fun one to do because it makes people laugh. That's to look right at that person and say, oh, I'm so terrible at breaking the ice. And I spend so much time studying and training exercise and fitness and programming and making sure that people are getting results that I'm terrible with people skills. Can you help me out? What are you looking for? Or what can I help you with? Right? So if you take the blame, you take the ownership and you're just honest and vulnerable with them, you make it a little playful, a little fun. If you notice some of the language I used, I spend so much time training. I spend so much time educating. I spend so much time learning and studying programming and training and working with clients that I have a hard time breaking the ice, but I really want to find something in common with you and I really want to help you. So tell me more about yourself. You hear that kind of language? We're seeding by letting them know, this is why I'm having a difficult time with that. So just be honest with people. you'll find that people are so much more friendly and welcoming if they're honest with you. So let me give you an example. If you go to a restaurant and you have a server that's brand new, right? And they're terrible. They don't tell you they're brand new. They get your order wrong. They don't bring out the right thing. Everything takes really slow. And then at the end, they're like, oh, I'm new. Well, you've already frustrated and have a bad experience. But if somebody comes up to you and they tell you, I'm new, I'm going to do my very, very best that I can, we start to give them grace. We start to give them permission to try to make mistakes and let it go. So just be honest with people. If you have a hard time breaking the ice, say so. I have a really hard time breaking the ice. By the way, I really like your shirt, but I have a really hard time breaking the ice and getting and connecting with people. I'm really awkward with people because I focus so hard on exercise, but I promise I'm going to do my best. That will immediately make somebody like you. If you can be fun and vulnerable, someone will immediately like you, and it takes the pressure off. So if you suck at breaking the ice, just say so. It's okay.
Muito bom, muito bom. Christian Jean pergunta: gostaria de saber do Elias se ele acha pertinente enviar um formulário para que o cliente possa preencher antes de comparecer na sessão estratégica, com o intuito de coletar algumas informações. Obrigado e parabéns pela palestra. Coletei muitas ideias valiosas.
Good, good. Put them in action. It's the number one thing. Oh, really, while we're talking about tips, the one thing I wanted to remind you, like the most important thing to remember for this whole thing is none of this has to be perfect. It just has to be in play. You don't have to operate at 10 for this to work. You just have to be more than 0. So if there's some of these things you're not doing, you don't have to do them perfectly. Just start implementing them. Once you start implementing them, then we can start improving them. But how do I feel about sending a form? It's kind of a double-edged sword. The benefit of sending a form is that you might get something back early. So remember the beginning, I said, send an email asking, what do you want? Why is it important to you? What do you want to accomplish? That's 3 simple questions that don't feel like a lot of work. If you send them like a 3 or multi-page PDF where they got to fill out this whole thing, for most people, they're going to feel like, oh, I gotta fill out forms at work. I got to fill out forms for my kids at school. I got to fill out this. I got to fill out that. What's more effective is bringing them in for the strategy session and filling out the form as an interview. So tell me about your medical history, any major pains, strains, anything you're dealing with, anything you're struggling with. When you do this as an interview and you start to write things down, you get them into the habit of answering your questions. It's an easy way to build rapport, and it makes them feel important. Okay, it makes them feel important because you're taking the time to ask questions and write it down. So I prefer, as opposed to sending a form, I prefer sitting down with them, asking them questions and filling it out. Because who sends you forms? The doctor, the dentist, and the politicians. And we hate all of those places, right? No one likes going to the doctor or the dentist and filling out the thing of paperwork they give us, or the forms the politicians want us to fill out for coming into the country, or immigration or travel or vaccine or whatever the case may be. For most people, forms suck, even if they ask really, really good questions. So start with 3 personal questions. What do you want? Why is that important? What's kept you from achieving that, which is more personal? And then save the forms and every other questions for an interview, because people like to be interviewed. People love to talk about themselves. So give them the opportunity to talk about themselves by filling out the form for them and asking questions. Great question. Really good question.
E nessa estratégia que você está passando, você ainda conseguiria também buscar mais informações que talvez antes, apenas na pessoa preencher, ela não ia ter paciência de escrever tanta coisa, né?
Right, because if somebody has ACL surgery and you dig in and you ask, what happened? And they're like, well, I injured it playing football. And you tell them, oh, what position did you play? And I was like, I was a forward in football. And you're like, oh, so you like to move fast, you're aggressive, you like to score. I bet you like to train that way too. Oh yeah, I like to go, I like to get at it. Tearing my ACL and having surgery, I stopped playing sports and I lost the confidence I had in an athlete. Can you give somebody that athletic confidence back through exercise? Hell yeah, you can. But we don't have that information unless we have their opportunity to dig deeper, exactly like you recommend. It's a perfect opportunity to dig deep.
Muito bom. E dá até para quebrar um gelo, né? Se a pessoa estava ali com uma sensação de quebrar de uma barreira, você quebra até um gelo ali no início já.
That's an outstanding point. Filling the form out for somebody is a very safe way for both people to break the ice.
Muito bom. Pergunta da Sabrina Luiza. Olá, Elias, muito obrigado pela palestra, adorei. Seguinte, se tem horários específicos para vender, qual é a melhor forma de eu conseguir convencer a pessoa sobre escolher esses horários? Porque, como personal, a dificuldade é tempo. Todos querem os horários da manhã e final da tarde. Ou seja, só para ajudar na tradução, a gente sabe que os horários nobres, né, do personal são os mais procurados. E às vezes o personal tem aqueles horários nobres, não tem vaga. E como é que faz para convencer a pessoa a ir no horário vago, né?
Okay. So this is actually a pretty complicated question, but I've got answers along the spectrum. So we'll start number one. Number one, you have to be able to scale better. So if you're not doing semi-private training, switch to semi-private. One-on-one does not yield better results. Semi-private actually yields better results. Studies were done that show that if you're training with 3 people instead of 1, that those 3 people will actually get better results by training in a group. So if you're not switching to semi-private, you're cutting down 2/3 of business you could be doing by maximizing your time. If you implement something digital, like where they can have their exercise program on their phone, like Bridge or digital coach, where they could look at their program on their phone and you're just coaching. You're not counting reps. You're not telling them what exercise is next. You're just coaching. You can go 6-to-1, which is one of the ratios that some of the other clients I have, the people that I'm coaching, are working 6-to-1 with a client. So number one, make sure you are maximizing your time first. Now, okay, so let's say you're maximizing your time, or you really just want to do one-on-one and you're only like one-on-one. There's 2 ways to do this. For new clients, we think that having fewer options is a detriment, but it's not. It's the opposite. Having fewer options means I'm full. If you want to train with me, it's got to be at 3. That's it. It's your only option. Figure it out. Make that work. Now, I wouldn't communicate it that way, but that's the sort of like a little bit of that attitude of like, my time is valuable and my time is full. So here are your options. I've got 3 on Tuesday and I've got 4 on Thursday. Those are your 2 options. Which would you like? So remember, asking an A or a B, and stop stressing over feeling like I need to have a bunch of options to make it easy for this person. Yes, you should make it as easy as you possibly can, but having more options isn't necessarily better. Think about a restaurant. The best restaurants in the world have maybe 5 or 6 items that you can order. Not hundreds of thousands of items that you can order on a menu, on a big, thick menu, and it's difficult to make a decision. Fewer options is good. It makes things feel exclusive. It makes things feel like, wow, it's hard to get on a schedule. If you make an appointment with your doctor, you miss that appointment, it is weeks or months until you can get another appointment. You don't have a choice. You don't have an option. That's it. So we want to walk that balance between having enough options that make sense that you can bring on new clients, that we're maximizing our time with semi-private 3-to-1 or 6-to-1, or anywhere in between. And then when we offer those options, we offer an A or a B. Which one would you like? This one or that one? Okay. So don't ask people, like, this is a mistake. Don't ask people, okay, when do you want to come in and train? And they're like 5 a.m. Monday. And you're like, oh crap, all my 5 a.m. Mondays are full. Remember, you're in charge. You're the coach. Make the professional recommendation. If you ask them, do you prefer mornings or evenings? And they're like, I prefer mornings. Great. I have Tuesday morning or Friday morning. They're like, oh, well, I've got yoga on Friday morning. Okay, so let's do Tuesday morning. Oh, I can't do Tuesday morning because I've got this on Tuesday morning. Well, Tuesday or Friday mornings are the only 2 mornings I have available. Everything else is full. They're going to have to move things around their schedule. So it's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to be exclusive. Exclusive actually is a really, really good thing. So there's just some options. Maximize your time. You still need to have enough options that people can actually sign up and train with you. And it's okay to be exclusive and tell them this one or that one. Those are your choices. You're in charge.
Excelente. Então, porque isso também acontece comigo algumas vezes. Vou usar minha experiência nesse caso. Você falou uma coisa bem interessante, que não criar expectativas, né? Porque se eu perguntar para a pessoa quando que você gostaria de treinar, eu já estou dando para ela uma expectativa de que ela poderia escolher o horário dela. E eu cometo esse erro de vez em quando.
Absolutely.
Eu já sei que o meu horário está completamente ocupado naquele determinado horário, eu não posso perguntar quando que você quer treinar. Então você diz aí, Você prefere de manhã
Yeah.
ou de tarde? Eu poderia fazer essa combinação. Você prefere de tarde ou de noite? Eu poderia dar essa janela e aí depois tentar alinhar, né?
Yeah, absolutely. Just giving people that window of time really just is saying this is it. This is what I have, and there's a little bit of value in take it or leave it. I'm not going to beg you, and I'm not going to persuade you.
Show, show. Perfeito. Michel Fagundes pergunta: sensacional, Elias, parabéns pelo conteúdo. Como escalar trabalhando como personal? Essa é uma pergunta boa. Acho que nossa maior dificuldade é atender mais pessoas sem ter que trabalhar mais que 12 horas por dia. E aí você acabou de dar um exemplo aí, né? Na última pergunta. Então,
Yeah.
pode seguir lá.
So maximizing your time. So a couple of important things. One of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is trainers were like, okay, I need to hire an assistant coach, right? I need to hire an assistant coach, or I've started my own training business, my own gym, and I need to hire an additional coach. The biggest mistake people do is hiring another coach. That's not the person you need to hire. You need to hire an admin. You need to take the crap that is on your plate that you hate doing and give that to somebody else so you can focus on coaching. That allows you to narrow down your time to where you are at your best. No personal trainer I know loves working on billing, follow-ups, ordering, accounting, or any of that crap. All the stuff you don't like doing, outsource. Double down on what you're good at. So if you can hire an admin for 10 hours a week, those 10 hours can be redirected into the stuff that you're really good at, which is actually coaching. That's one way to help maximize your time. The reality is you can only maximize your time to a certain level before you have to hire somebody. But when you do hire somebody, hire an assistant. And it doesn't have to be somebody live. You can hire a virtual assistant. There's a ton of great businesses out there that have virtual assistants that will take care of accounting, websites, social media, other things that you don't like to do. So the stuff that you don't like, make a list. I don't like doing all these things in my business. Start to delegate that first. Coaching is the last thing we delegate, right? Eventually you will if you want to scale, but it's the last thing. Truly working semi-private is the only way that you can truly scale, is going to be semi-private. If you're personal training, if you're doing group classes, and do great big group classes. But if you're doing personal training, scale. The other one is, if you can, if you're a travel coach, that is one of the least time efficient, effective ways to do it. Travel coaching, it becomes impossible to maximize your time because you have so much time for prep, setup, travel, and in between. And most of the time, personal trainers that travel to other people's homes don't charge enough money. They only charge for the session. They don't charge for travel time. They don't charge for gas. They don't charge for resources for their business. You have to look at, what is a session costing me? Am I charging enough to cover the cost of the session, to cover the cost of gas, training, continuing education, all that kind of stuff? So if you're traveling and it's one-on-one, you have to be at a maximum super premium. If not, then you're going to have to maximize your time through semi-private coaching and through delegating the stuff you don't want to do, right? Most people tell you, wow, you got to wear every hat in business and it's on you to do all the stuff that's hard. Yeah, in the beginning, you're going to have to do it all. But when it's time to grow, first thing you get rid of is the crap you don't like doing. Maximize your time with the stuff that you were best at, probably programming and coaching. Focus on those, hire somebody else to do all the other stuff.
Show. Quando você diz traveling coach, eu não sei como é que foi traduzido, mas você quer dizer que traveling coach seria aquele treinador que tem que ir de casa em casa dos alunos, em vez de ficar numa academia ou no seu próprio estúdio, é isso?
Right. Yeah, that's hard. That's one of the most difficult, and most traveling coaches don't charge enough. And it's becoming less and less necessary to become a traveling coach because you can do so much digitally. So the need for a traveling coach is kind of getting smashed because the sheer amount of digital and remote programs through video coaching, through digital programming, through apps and stuff like that. So the need for a traveling coach is just really kind of like on its way out. Maybe celebrities, and maybe some high profile clients, but at that point you should be charging a super premium.
Ok. Eu tenho que mudar muitas coisas da minha rotina. Eu estou trabalhando como traveling coach e eu não estou cobrando o justo, né? Vou ter que mudar tudo. Realmente. Muito bom.
Yeah, your time is valuable.
Exatamente, exatamente. Uma das coisas mais engraçadas que aconteceu nessa pandemia, eu sempre fui contra a fazer treinamento online. Sempre fui a favor de fazer o treinamento, né, pessoalmente. E aí veio a pandemia, não podíamos mais, por um bom tempo, fazer o treinamento pessoal, né? Tinha que fazer online. E agora, adivinha? Eu adoro online, eu não quero mais ficar dirigindo para um lado para o outro. Mas tudo bem. Christian Jean diz: qual postura adotar para aquelas pessoas que chegam até nós buscando um treinamento para emagrecer, mas desconhecem todo o contexto que todo esse processo envolve? Pois geralmente essas pessoas acreditam que somente o treinamento irá solucionar o seu problema e apresentam certa resistência quando falamos em hábitos alimentares, estilo de vida e etc. Muito obrigado.
Yeah. What we end up doing is, if I let's say I wanted to build a wall, right? If I'm going to build an effective wall, I have to go 1 brick, concrete, 1 brick, concrete, 1 brick, concrete. I can only build it 1 brick at a time. If I try to just pile on a bunch of bricks, it's just going to be this huge, messy pile that someone could either push over, climb over, or walk around. So habit forming is the same way. What we try to do, because we're so excited, right? As coaches, we're so excited. We want to flood them with all this information. You got to change how you eat. You got to change your sleep schedule. You got to work on your recovery. You're not doing enough of this. We're trying to change too many habits at one time. Literally, the first thing I like to ask a client is, do you eat breakfast? First question, do you eat breakfast? And if the answer is no, they tell them, okay, eat breakfast. And they'll ask me, what should I eat? And I tell them, I don't care. Eat anything you want. Just eat within 30 minutes of waking up. Can I have a banana? Yeah. Can I have yogurt? Sure. Can I have a handful of almonds? Yep. Whatever you want. Can I have eggs and bacon and toast? Sure. Just start eating breakfast. Do that for a week. What are your chances of eating breakfast for a week? And if they come back with something over 90%, and I tell them, great, focus on that. All you're going to do is eat breakfast for a week. We try to push too fast, too hard. And it's like drinking from a fire hose, right? It just can't take it in all the time. But 1 shot at a time, 1 shot, empty the glass, put it down, 1 shot, empty the glass, put it down. We have to move with them at their pace. Some people can do it. Some people can go all out, all the way. Most of the time, the reason trainers try to push for this, like, you need to get your nutrition, you need to get this, you need to get that, because trainers are the type of person that, like, I'm going to do a fitness competition, which means my pee is going to smell like asparagus for the next 6 months, and I'm okay with that. Most people have a hard time with that. It's too much. So we have to remember, we need to move at their pace. Don't try to educate too much at one time. One small piece of education at the time. Think of new clients that are resistant, like feeding a baby, right? 1 small spoon at a time. 1 small spoon at a time. If you shove too much in that baby's mouth, what happens? Right? And that's what happens with a client. They burst out. They binge. They go and eat what they shouldn't eat. They do what they shouldn't do, or they get upset, or they cry, or they show resistance. 1 small spoonful at a time. So remember, pace and the pace that you set for somebody is as important as the information that you give. So you may not have to change the information that you give. You might just have to slow it down. Give it in small, digestible pieces. Really good question.
Excelentes analogias do tijolo e do alimentar o bebê. Realmente não adianta querer mudar um hábito de anos, né? Provavelmente de anos, hábitos ruins, querer mudar tudo de uma vez com uma avalanche de informações novas. A única coisa que vai conseguir é
We're not going to change a third of your habit in a week.
Exatamente. Você vai conseguir resistência e não vai construir. É tudo que você falou também aqui, né, de construir um relacionamento. Você citou isso na sua palestra, a importância de construir um bom relacionamento com o seu cliente. Excelente. Ronaldo Germano diz: excelente palestra, Elias. Quando você tem uma equipe de trabalho, na sua opinião, qual deveria ser a estratégia ideal para motivá-los para participar do processo de venda?
Great question. One of the best ways to get buy-in, and the easiest way to get buy-in from your staff, is to tell them, all right, we're going to revamp our sales process because I don't think you guys like it. And you know what? I don't like it either. So we're going to revamp it and we're going to build it together from start to finish. When your team or staff feels like they have some ownership over how a system is built, then buy-in becomes significantly easier, right? So get them involved in the discussion. If you came to this, you would tell them, hey, here's a bunch of stuff from the seminar that I'm taking, with this guy, this crazy American with a beard. Here's all the information. What do you guys feel like is the most important thing that we could change? What do you know? Just pick somebody. Carlos, what do you think is the best thing of all this information you've seen of things that I thought was important? What do you like? And they're like, oh, you know what? I actually like this, this, and this. Great. Let's talk about implementing that. So one of the best ways to get people to buy in is get them involved with the creation of the process, with the creation of the system. You'll get much more buy-in that way. The other is, it's difficult to isolate your superstars, right? Find out in your team, what is it that you do best? Are you the best at organizing? Great. You're in charge of making sure that every person gets a follow-up call. So break up the system into pieces of who does what part best, rather than having people do the whole thing with one person. You can do that. You can split it up and be like, you know what? You're so good with inquiries and getting people to set appointments. That's what you do. You're the appointment setting person. That's your focus. If the other person's like, hey, you're great at the assessment and getting information, getting people's goals and really getting to the emotional anchor, that's what you're going to do. That's how you're going to handle all of the clients. So a couple of things. One, get them involved with creating the process that for your specific space. Or two, break up the work, break it up into the pieces of that people are really, really good at. Because it's so much more fun to do something that you feel like you're good at, right? Sucks doing stuff that you feel like you're not good at or that you're not interested in. But even if it's just a little piece that you're the best at, then it's fun to do. And you get more buy-in and excitement that way.
Show, show. Usando essa mesma pergunta que o Germano fez sobre motivação de time, você acredita que para uma academia, ou para um centro de estudos, um centro de treinamento, ou um estúdio, um pequeno estúdio, seria importante construir uma ideia de que o time poderia receber um percentual de vendas, ou um percentual, um anual, um prêmio, alguma coisa desse tipo? E se sim, se você acredita que é importante ter isso com o time, quando iniciar, o que precisaria ver que seria válido fazer esse tipo de estratégia?
So there's a couple things. I think you gotta find out what motivates people, right? So if people are money motivated or bonus motivated, then that will work, right? Not everybody's money motivated. If you tell them, hey, you get 5%. Let's say you have an enrollment fee, right? Or an initial investment, which is a better way of saying enrollment fee. So you have an initial investment of $99. That's the money they put down to join the gym. And every person that you go to enroll, you get half. We're going to split it. So it's profit sharing. You get $50, the gym gets $50 for every person you enroll on top of your regular pay as a bonus. You can do that, and that'll motivate people who are truly money motivated, but that's kind of a small group. And so again, the more you get people involved in the decision-making process, the more buy-in you get. And you can tell them, hey, so we've got a couple of options here. Here's the number we want to hit as a team. We want to hit 10 new members this month. We got options. 10 new members. We all go out to dinner. We all go out, bowling and dinner. We all go out and we go catch a football game together, and it's on the gym pays for it. Or we hand out a bonus to everybody. There's a cash prize at the end, gets split amongst everybody. Or you each get $100 $100 in continuing education money. $100, you can sign up for books, seminars, whatever it is you want to sign up for, you can buy as continuing education money. So take the time to ask people what motivates you. What do you like? What are you excited about? What reward system works best for you? If you are going to do profit sharing, which does work, then you can do then build it into the price of what you're doing. So if it means that there's a little bit of a rate increase or a bit of or you decide to start asking for initial investment, you can cover the cost of your bonus program by building it into your budget. A lot of times we think, oh my God, the gym can't afford it. The gym can't afford it. The gym can't afford it. It means the budget is off. If you build it into your budget And that's what you're charging clients for. Your clients are paying for all of it. Clients are paying for bonuses. Clients are paying for dinner out. Clients are paying for continuing education. So we just have to look at reworking the budget in that way in order to afford it, whether you're going to offer prizes, a team prize, which I've found very, very effective. If the culture's right, if you have a close team and the culture is really good, then if it's a money-driven culture, which is perfectly okay, then build that money into your budget, into your cost per client.
Excelente. Excelente. Eu vou fazer minha última pergunta sobre divisão dentro de um centro de treinamento. Eu tenho profissionais, de repente, com mais experiência, outros com menos experiência. Você acha que é saudável construir uma diferença de salário de acordo com a experiência daqueles profissionais? Independente da experiência dentro da academia. Todo mundo chegou junto. Mas eu vejo que um tem um currículo melhor do que o outro.
Right. So here's one of the things that I like, and this is going to take some effort. But if you give somebody a clear path to financial progression, you get outstanding employees. When they come in and you're like, what starts at $20 an hour. Here's how you get to 22. Here's how you get to 24. Here's how you get to 26, 28, 30. Here are the specific requirements that get you a raise. Then it becomes a really powerful tool where it says you have to complete your own point system, your own, complete 3 courses worth CEUs and you move up $2. Be responsible for bringing in, increase your personal client list by 10, make $2 more an hour, or whatever it is that you decide. So you create this pyramid of base level starts here. Here's what, in order to work here, here's what you have to have: your general certification, your CPR first aid, your requirements there. Level 2 coach, here are the requirements. Here's what you get paid. Level 3 coach, here are the requirements. Here's what you get paid. Level 4 coach, here are the requirements. Here's what you get paid. So you really want to take the time to find out what's going to make somebody actually valuable, and do they bring additional value into the gym? But that's what the pyramid is based on. Each level of the pyramid is based on how much more value do you bring into the gym. And so you can have sort of 2 ways of growth. One is by becoming a better coach, a higher resume. So you get somebody in that brings a resume that's at level 3. Well, then we start them at level 3. So take your time with this. For anybody building it, take your time with it to decide what markers are you looking for? Should somebody with an ACE certification versus somebody with their CSCS, is that different? Yeah, that's real different, right? And so that might be tier 4 versus tier 1. So create your own tiered system, and then do what most companies don't do. Be open with it. Be honest with it. Be open books. Share everybody. Look, they get paid this because this, this, and this. You get paid that because this, this, and this. Super open books, super fair. That way nobody feels like anything is unfair, right? It's not based on whether or not you like that person. It's, did you check all the boxes, right? Now, if somebody checks all the boxes, but they're an asshole, then maybe we want to think about hiring somebody else, right? You might have team morale or team bonus, or you might have something in your pyramid that says, leads a team exercise, right? Tier 3 might be regularly leads 1 team exercise a month, right? Or 1 team workout a month. So you can build teamwork things into it. You can build, hey, you completed the sales training seminar. Bam, that's how you get to level 3. If you want to become a better coach, you need to finish your RKC training and your sales training. That's what bumps you up to level 3. So don't think it's got to be entirely training focused or sales focused or what. It could be leads the team, got this cert, got that cert, and read a book. Bam, they get moved up that way. So take your time to decide what kind of people you want, because that's what's going to dictate what's in the pyramid. So decide what kind of person you want, then build a pyramid based on that person.
Olha, o dia que eu abrir o meu centro de treinamento, você vai ser o meu consultor de vendas número 1, porque é muita informação valiosa, é muito detalhe que você realmente domina. Você, desculpe se eu não sei disso, tá, Elias? Mas você também tem formação como personal trainer ou strength and conditioning coach?
That's a great question. No, I don't, but I was a Taekwondo instructor for 15 years.
porque você sabe muitos detalhes, você fala nomes de certificações, você fala nomes de equipamentos. Você não é uma pessoa de vendas que não entende do produto que você está vendendo, né? Diferente de muitas coisas que às vezes a gente vê, até eu já fiz algum curso de vendas com pessoas que não são da área e não sabiam nada, e fica muito difícil de você conseguir juntar as informações. Você passa como se você fosse... Eu jurava que eu achava que você era um personal trainer, porque eu já vi até alguns vídeos seus você treinando, treina pesado. Eu vi um trap bar com bastante anilha ali do lado, era bem pesado, você treina bem. E agora vendo você falar, não é a primeira vez que eu vejo você falar, claramente eu diria que você é um personal trainer, um strength and conditioning coach que se especializou em vendas, mas não. Impressionante, hein? Muito bom. Muito bom, Elias.
I think thank you. I appreciate that. I find that so remember in the beginning when I said you only talk about what's important to that person and you use the language that they use. If I'm going to coach trainers, then I must understand trainer language. So I have to do a ton of homework to find out what certifications are there, what it is that they want, what language do trainers speak, what equipment do they use. So this all comes from doing my homework beforehand for the audience that I'm about to talk to. And so in doing that, I just want to collect as much information as possible. It's, for me, data is the single most important thing on the planet, because if I have data, then I can communicate better. And that is been what's so important to me. I mean, I'm FMS level 1 and level 2 certified, so I have a little bit of experience in how that works because I would do the FMS for the gym. But when it comes to understanding all of this stuff, if it's really important to me that you guys understand, then I have to speak your language, and that's my responsibility. Just like it's our responsibility to speak the client's language. And I take that responsibility seriously.
Muito bom, Elias, muito bom. E esse foi só o primeiro encontro, o primeiro dia. Teremos mais 2. Elias, muito obrigado pelo seu tempo, pela sua presença. Bruno, muito obrigado pela sua mágica aí. Agradeço também todos os participantes aqui. Eu deixo para o Elias a última mensagem para o nosso público, porque semana que vem tem mais.
That's right. Thank you guys for having me. This is absolutely one of my favorite teams to work with whenever I'm coaching. It's always a fantastic time and a great group of people. And in the questions, like, I'll be honest, working with Brazilians is a totally different animal than anywhere else on the planet. And I cannot wait to the first time I get to come down to Brazil and visit with you all in person. But I'm going to leave you with one thing. All the barriers and things that keep you from pushing your product, from selling, from establishing your own personal value, from asking for the money that you are worth, from charging the premium, from being the professional. I need you to understand that you have a moral obligation to help people because you know how to do it. That's like Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility. That's one of the most powerful superhero phrases ever. But it's the truth. It would be like having all the powers of Superman and not helping anybody. You are super people. There is no business in the world like personal trainers. But because you have all this knowledge and all this power, you also have a responsibility. That means you must learn how to sell it. You must learn how to communicate it because you cannot help anybody until you can do those two things. So we have a responsibility to save the lives and change the lives that we learned how to do. So if there's one thing you take away, it's that you got to get good at this. You got to get good at this because people need you. People need you.
Excelente, sensacional. Só para fechar, a Érica, que minha esposa, mandou uma mensagem no chat. Ela diz: Elias, muito obrigado, eu sou sua fã. Muito obrigado por tudo que você vem compartilhando. Você é incrível. Nosso amor aqui, Eric e Félix. Só para vocês saberem, foi a Érica que descobriu o Elias. Nós estávamos numa conferência da Perform Better em Long Beach. Eu fui para um lado, ela foi para o outro, porque a gente falou, vamos ver quem é que está assistindo, quem é que está palestrando. E ela viu o Elias e falou, como é que você não conhece o Elias? Eu falei, me desculpa, eu não sei quem é, mas a gente vai assistir a palestra dele. E ele está aqui, e com certeza, Elias, no nosso próximo evento presencial, você com certeza estará presente visitando o Brasil e comendo comida brasileira.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That's going to be great.
Maravilha. Pessoal, muito obrigado e semana que vem estaremos de volta aqui no mesmo horário, 3 da tarde do Brasil e 2 da tarde da costa leste dos Estados Unidos. Muito obrigado. O pessoal está dizendo aqui, Elaia, realmente nós somos super-heróis. É muito bom ouvir isso. Então, muito obrigado, Elaia. Muito obrigado.
All right, my friends. We'll see you next week.
Nos veremos próxima semana. Muito obrigado, pessoal. Obrigado, Bruno. Obrigado a todos e até próximo sábado. Tchau, tchau.